Hello everyone, I'm your host, Cinema Ghost, and today we're going to break down the trailer to The Batman.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
This is going to be more of a freeform discussion of little details in the trailer that really caught my eye, and how it indicates, even though that this is 25% of the film finished, it's going to be fantastic. Starting off with the opening logos. I like how DC does their logos with their trailers to match the vibe of the movie. Which leads into my first theme, subversion. Because for me, after hearing this, I immediately imagined it being Bruce suiting up and strapping on armor and gadgets with Velcro, when in actuality, it's the Riddler unrolling duct tape for what looks to be the start of a murder. I say start because in this shot, whoever this is already incapacitated, but in the next shot, he's been found by the cops, while the sound design replays an asphyxiation sound to clue us into how he was killed, which probably means this shot was the blow to the head that knocked him out, only for him to wake up choking to death. Let's talk about the sound design. I love it. I'm a huge fan of diegetic sound editing, and if you aren't aware, that's just any sound that is in narrative compared to what isn't. Like a movie soundtrack normally isn't diegetic because we can hear it, but the characters can't. While a character listening to that same song through headphones or a radio makes it diegetic. And the simultaneous switch between the two makes for a super rhythmic, enjoyable, and really trippy experience. Directors like Edgar Wright are known for doing this perfectly with films like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Baby Driver most noticeably. I think it's really clever when it's pulled off openly, but it's genius the more subtle it gets. Like the song they're using, Something in the Way by Nirvana, fits perfectly with Bruce's brooding, angsty mood, and because of that his movements are in sync with the song. Because it's a part of him. Also, the more subtle editing of Jim Gordon reading the riddle on the card left for the Batman. Gordon is played by Jeffrey Wright, who I'm so happy was casted, by the way. He's a phenomenal and criminally underrated actor. But if you listen to the cadence of his voice in reading the card, it's syncopated with the soundtrack.
Who? Haven't a clue. Let's play a game. Just me and you.
Further ingratiating us into the mood of this film, which in my opinion is anger, angst, and violence. That's why Nirvana was chosen for the soundtrack, and why the main color for this theme is red. The color red is all over this trailer, and especially in its title cards, as red represents anger, passion, and danger or death. As this is a younger Bruce Wayne, supposedly only in his second year of being the Batman. This is going to focus more on the detective side of him as he learns to become the legendary sleuth we know him to be, but during this time, he is still a passionate and angry man, dedicating a singular focus to stopping the crime that took his parents away, while fighting the inner darkness that seeps out during times of action. Which leads me into my favorite part of this trailer, his first fight scene.
The hell are you supposed to be?
There's no music, it's elongated, and it's brutal. There are literal stages you see him go through where we as the audience are expecting him to do what he normally does, which is to quickly dispatch him as tactically and efficiently as possible, as it will serve as a deterrent for the rest who think of challenging him, and it will conserve his energy for whomever else wants to fight him. But he doesn't. He wails on him, breaks his arm, and continues to beat him, completely incapacitates him, and still beats him. That's the rage he has inside, the darkness that makes us question, with them in a costume causing violence, and with him in a costume doing the same, how different is Batman really? But on this scene, I have 2 points I'd like to make. 1, I would be losing my mind too if Joker was in this, but I don't think these guys have anything to do with the Joker. This film is based on the comic The Long Halloween. So I wouldn't be surprised if these were just guys dressed up as skeletons looking for some trouble. It would also make sense for the line,
The hell are you supposed to be?
and it could paint an even darker picture that this is Halloween and Batman had either stopped a violent crime they were about to commit, or he was just looking for someone to take some pent-up aggression out on. My second point is more of a question, but what year does this take place in? Because the vibe of the film is like a 90s dark detective murder mystery like Seven. But in that alleyway beatdown, this dude is clearly recording with a smartphone. And also in the attempted car bombing, the dude gets out and has a smartphone attached to his hand. So like, what year is it? And how old is Bruce supposed to be? I'm super excited for the Riddler, played by Paul Dano. He seems like he's going to be this deranged killer and master strategist and manipulator. I like his motives, which are to crack down on the corrupt justice system of Gotham by targeting political figures. The fact that he himself wears a costume when committing these acts holds a parallel to Batman, making him a compelling villain, because they want the same thing, a safer Gotham. But he seems to be killing those in power and ultimately responsible for the crime in the city, while Batman is in training and beating up lowly thugs to get crime off the streets. The Riddler is going to be the person that makes Bruce step his game up and either rise to the occasion and see the whole picture, or fight uselessly night after night in a system that will never change. I believe that's why he says,
What is the price for your blind eye?
practically telling him he's going to keep killing people until he opens his eyes to see what's really happening. It's heavy, and it's fucking dark, but Bruce chose to take up the mantle, and to whom much is given, much is required. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman looks awesome. I love the fact that since this is the beginning of a lot of characters, Catwoman is in this very DIY Joann's fabric catsuit with those little cat ears that almost look like a happy accident of sewing. I like that she isn't afraid to take on the bat, and she looks like she can hold her own in a fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if she was breaking into Wayne Manor. Colin Farrell is fucking unrecognizable as Oswald Cobblepot. Great prosthetics, and he looks like he's going to be trouble for Bruce, as he's seen shooting at him and getting chased by him in his nuclear car. Overall, I feel super pumped about this. The Batman looks like it's going to take its time, it looks dark and gritty, and it's going to deliver great action and cement Rob Pattinson as a solid Batman. I like how hardcore he is, like how it looks like he has to drive through a cemetery to reach the entrance of the Batcave, a plot where I'm pretty sure his parents are buried, and holds a reminder and maybe even motivation of what he's fighting for and what he's lost every time he puts on that suit. The fact that his emblem are halves of the gun that killed his parents says a lot. And the heavy symbolism of the scene where he's fighting and takes a bullet to his chest, but is deflected by that same gun, that he's saved by the things that torture him. There's a lot going on in his head, and I can't wait to see how this turns out. Thank you all for watching. If you like this trailer breakdown and want to see more, like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything to add, leave a comment down below. I totally want to hear your theories. And until next time, I've been your host, Cinema Ghost.